Since Bob lost the championship in 1984, he was pretty bound and determined to make it outside of the McMahon umbrella. Um, Unfortunately, that never happened. And not only did that not happen, but he was constantly lobbying for work at WWF, WWE shows for over 40 years before he got sick. And that's pretty well documented that he would show up in gimmick to shows and just kind of, oh, look at me and yell and scream and being, character and all that stuff. And hoping that somebody would throw him a bone. Um, he got involved in a lot of businesses around town in Harford County as a local celebrity. He was constantly being handed business ideas and people looking for money. And once in a while, he would take one of the deals. There were a lot of Jewish men that he got involved with, older Jewish men that would try to dump business property or uh, onto him. The Savoldis tried to pass off ICCCW onto him or On Fire, whatever it was called. I was involved with that, not financially or anything, but I did a couple shots while he was involved. Um, I feel that his cognitive decline happened um, when he got involved with a man, local man that owned a oil company, a home heating oil company. He owned trucks, he owned the terminals, and he owned the pipelines. And he got Bob to start his own home heating delivery business. He bought an oil truck and he did business with this man as far as he got his supply from this man. And there was never any agreement on paper. There was never any handshake as far as I know, but there was an understanding that when this man retired that Bob was going to take over his entire operation. And it was going to be called Backlund Energy. And that was why he had his one truck in his one business called Backlund Energy. So Bob was in line to take over a business that had its own fleet of oil trucks, its own oil terminal, and the pipelines that delivered the oil to the terminal. In the late 2000s, 2009 or 10, I believe, Bob walked into the guy's office and found him dead on the floor. And I think that really took a toll on Bob. He wasn't really the same after that. His energy was off. He was acting more erratic. And you can see that at his Hall of Fame speech. That was probably the most erratic that I've ever seen him act in public. And then it just declined. He started losing teeth. He started losing muscle mass. He started losing weight. He just aged rapidly after that. And it turned out that he was dealing with dementia. And it only got severe within the last year or two. I had to walk away. I didn't know at the time that he had dementia, legit dementia. In my opinion, it was from a nasty case of Lyme disease that he never got taken care of, which is a side effect of Lyme disease, which is dementia later on in life. He had a real bad case of Lyme disease in the mid-2000s. And I understand he was a professional athlete and amateur wrestler and did some shoot fights in Japan and was a pro on and off for 40 years. I get that, but there's a lot of guys that did what he did that don't have dementia and worked just as safe as he did. So, my opinion, it was because of the Lyme disease that he never got treated. I just, it was tough to watch, so I just had to walk away. I don't think he really cared. I don't think Bob really cared about anything except being successful outside of the McMahon umbrella, which unfortunately he never got to realize. Um, the bulk of his wealth, which wasn't a lot compared to his contemporaries. It was enough so he could live comfortably, him and his wife, but it's not like he was making tens and millions of dollars. I mean, that's no. um, and there's a lot of lure and myth and all that around Bob and his 30-room mansion and his collection of Ferraris and all this weird shit that I've had to dispel over the years. But he didn't have a bad life. I mean, anything bad that he had, he kind of brought on himself by being erratic. And that was before the dementia. But yeah, I think this deal that he had worked out with this man that he really wanted to do and he was determined to do. And when that fell through and the man passed away, I think that really messed with his mental state. And he never recovered.